You are watching a master at work.
Hi guys, this is a channel update and the interlude to the maiden voyage of the byKilian series. So, what is happening on this channel? In my opinion, really exciting stuff. I'm going to do something that hasn't been done by any reviewer. For you guys, once a year, I'm going to embark on a journey where we're going to review every single fragrance that has ever been released from a single house. This year, we're going to start with the house of Kilian. Now, in case you didn't know, Kilian is my favorite house. I love the house of Guerlain. I love the house of Dior, Chanel, Serge Lutens, Creed, Tom Ford's private blend collection. However, in my opinion, the house of Kilian is far and beyond the best house out there. This house pays attention to detail like no other in every single facet of whatever it is they put out. Every single one of their fragrances has a deep, rich story behind it. One fragrance dovetails into the other. The quality, obviously you've heard of that, is just beyond words. The packaging is widely known as the best in the game. The house of Kilian, in my opinion, is just absolutely doing the thing right now. In the fragrance game, in my opinion, there's just like almost no competition. The one thing that people say is Kilian fragrances are very expensive. However, one of the key tenets or the pillars of the Kilian house is making fine perfumery available to everyone. So there are so many buying options for different levels of dedication to fragrance. I would say if you take your fragrance very seriously and you are willing to spend, upwards of $250, $400, this house will cater to you. If you're not willing to invest that much, if you're only looking to spend, say, $75, $100, there are also options available for you. What other house does that? So, in this series, we're going to tackle the collections that have been released. And as Kilian fragrances are released, I will review them and add them to this series. We're going to begin with the L'Oeuvre Noir collection, which translates from French to the Black Masterpiece collection. And I describe this as a gothic love story. It consists of 3 acts. The first act is called the Ingénue, and the Ingénue is in reference to a character that is usually in movies, in films, in plays, and it's a young, innocent lady. So the Act 1 of the Black Masterpiece collection tells a tale of the innocent young lady who falls in love and what that entails. And this concept is delivered through 4 fragrances: Prelude to Love, Love, Beyond Love, and Love and Tears. So you go from falling in love with Prelude in Love, loving with love, beyond love, and then the heartbreak that comes and the pain that comes with love, and just the fullness of a relationship, the good and the bad, with Love and Tears. The second act is called The Artificial Paradises, and this act is one that tells the tale of the Ingénue sort of being disillusioned by the relationship and seeking pleasure and fulfillment through artificial substances and trying to attain paradise, not through religion or magic, but through substance abuse. And it is delivered, this concept, through 3 fragrances, the first of which is a taste of heaven, an absinthe-inspired fragrance. And absinthe is a narcotic substance. It's a wormwood infused with liquor, and poets and literary writers and artistic minds consumed absinthe to inspire themselves, much like a lot of our artists today smoke reefer or do cocaine, to get inspiration. Then the second in this one is Straight to Heaven. The subtitle for this one is White Crystal, and it's an allusion to substance abuse. I mean, white crystal, cocaine, and Straight to Heaven is rum inspired. So we're talking about very celebratory type of concept here. Party, wild partying and just using substances. And then the final fragrance in Act 2 is the infamous Back to Black, and this has to do with achieving paradise through sex, and that fragrance is just all about sex and the ecstasy of sex and the intensity of sexual pleasure. The third act is called the Parisian Orgies, and is an ode to the infamous Parisian orgies in the early 20th century. And there are 4 fragrances in the Parisian orgies. The first of these 4 fragrances is Dangerous Liaisons, and Dangerous Liaisons is obviously a straight up ode to the Parisian orgies and the bad habits, and it's meant to be a sexually seductive fragrance, and it was modeled after a infamous or famous, if you will, mistress who was famous in the Parisian orgies for her sexual prowess, if I may. And then you have Cruel Intentions, which is meant to be a aphrodisiac, the aphrodisiac within this act, but it takes a different tone than Back to Black. So let's see how the House of Kilian comes through with that concept. After Cruel Intentions, we have Sweet Redemption, and Sweet Redemption is the conclusion of the entire collection, and this fragrance, as the name says, is about encompassing the concept of coming to peace and finding resolution, and sort of turning the corner and no longer trying to search for answers, and just being at peace and being happy and forgiving oneself for the mistakes that have been made, the transgressions that have been committed. So that is the Louvre Noir collection, and that is the first collection that we are going to tackle. After that, we will tackle the Arabian Nights collection, and we'll move on to the Asian Tales. And as Kilian releases fragrances, the next of which will be In the Garden of Good and Evil, with 3 amazing light fruity fragrances coming out. I will review them and add them to this collection. So without further ado, let's get to it. Before we get to it, I'm sure people would like to know what my favorite Kilian fragrances are, and I would list my top 5. At number 5, coming in at number 5 would be A Taste of Heaven. A Taste of Heaven is my 5th favorite. At number 4 would be Sweet Redemption. Now, A Taste of Heaven and Sweet Redemption, in my mind, is a tie. A Taste of Heaven is my go-to casual fragrance in the winter. I also use it on night outs. And Sweet Redemption is my go-to casual fragrance and sometimes night out fragrance in the summer. Coming in at number 3 will be Amber Oud, we'll get into the review of that. One of the smoothest fragrances out there. It's just buttery smooth. That's how I can describe it. Very, very pleasant amber. Nothing too extreme about this fragrance. A very warming nature to it. Very golden fragrance. And coming in at number 2 is Straight to Heaven. One of my favorite fragrances of all time. I'm really, really glad that I discovered this fragrance, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. Coming in at number 1 is Back to Black. And Back to Black, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite fragrance of all time. Just an absolute masterpiece. There is nothing like it in this world. Maybe in another galaxy, not in this world. And so there you have it. So we're embarking on our byKilian series, and I hope that you guys enjoy everything that I have worked on and prepared for you guys.
You are watching a master at work.